why don't we start with Michael Cooper? I mean, we all think he's an immense talent, and I'm wondering, are there ways that he can be highlighted this year? Just tell me your thoughts on Michael. And, as you address Michael, do you feel like he continues to improve as a receiver? And what were some of the things that you thought he had to improve upon off of last season?
Yep. So I thought Koopa had a really, really good season last year. The one thing that he did not do so well was just knowing his assignments. He had the most missed assignments out of anybody in the wide receiver core last year. So that was the number one thing we addressed. And
when you say missed assignments, do you mean blocking only, or?
No, it's somewhere in the blocking game, somewhere in the passing game. Just doing something that you're not supposed to do, just a mental mistake, basically. And he was young last year still. So he spent a lot of time getting in the playbook and really understanding what we do offensively. So that's the number one thing he had to fix. As far as ability to make plays for us and do things, he has as much talent as anybody we've had here in the wide receiver position. And the thing that I like about Coop is he works his butt off. So if you tell him, hey, you got to improve here, you got to do this, he's going to go out there and do it to try to get better.
As a group, your wide receivers, we were talking to Coach yesterday about sort of a byproduct of this practicing style was an increase in the amount of skelly that you guys do. How can that pay off for your guys? Because it's one thing to practice routes. It's another thing to catch routes in practice, but it's another thing to have the faith that you can do it consistently in a game. Are they getting close to that point?
I'd say we're still a long ways away. Everybody came in different shape. So some guys were in better shape than others. So we've kind of eased into some things. We haven't ran a ton of different route concepts yet. So we just kind of put the basic stuff in so far. Now that stuff looks pretty good. Having Coach Stutz here, some of the new stuff we've implemented has been good. But we're a long ways away yet from being ready to play a game at wide receiver.
From the receiver's standpoint, what are the quarterbacks looking like?
We got a few quarterbacks that can really throw the ball. Obviously, Malcolm was a unique talent last year. His strong point was his legs. I think some of these guys, they throw the ball a little bit better than Malcolm, so that's been good. I know the guys during the quarantine, that was some things they were allowed to do. They kept their social distance, but they were allowed to throw the ball. It was one of the things they were allowed to do and work with the quarterback, so that was good.
All right.
Wags, back to you.
Well, let's talk about Ryan Mitchell, who's another kind of – I see him as a steady Eddie, and, but he made some big plays last year. I mean, I think he may have had one of Navy's longest plays, 80-some yards. Talk a little bit about Mitch and, because as of now, he's your other starter.
Yep. Yeah, he sure did in the UConn game, had a big play there. He led us in yards per reception last year, had a high average in the mid-20s. But he's a guy that knows exactly what to do, understands exactly what we're trying to do. And now that he's a senior, I think he's taking his game to the next level as far as his work ethic and his leadership of the group. He's the guy that I talk to every single day. He sets up all our meetings. He gets a hold of the younger guys. He's holding everybody accountable. But I love the guy. I love the way he comes to work. And he's got a skill set. He's a pretty talented kid too. So far this camp, he's clocked the 2 fastest times on the GPS, so he can roll a little bit too.
Oh, Chance Warren, I know he's working at quarterback, but it has been said that if he's not the starting quarterback, he goes back to being a wide receiver. How do you keep Chance up to speed in the wide receiver room? Does he attend your meetings, that type of thing?
No, I think if he goes back anywhere, I think we're pretty deep at the wide receiver spot. He'll probably go back to the slot back position today.
Okay. Well, and then last for me, other wide receivers. I mean, you look at this depth chart, Mark Walker, Tyshawn Buckner behind Coop, Devin Matthews, Tanner Matthews behind Mitchell. I don't know how much any of those guys, I think I saw Walker out there a little bit last season, but how many, not many of those guys I just mentioned have had much game experience. What's your confidence level in those fellows?
It's going to take some time, but a lot of those guys are really talented. The young guys who are sophomores now are super talented kids. Now, it killed us not having spring for those guys, missing those reps. But they're gonna get there. By the time we suit up to play BYU, those young guys will be ready to play, and you will see them out there on the field.
Navy always has a big receiver who can play that jumbo package, come in close to the line, almost like a tight end and block. I'm not quite sure who fits that mold this season.
Yep. So we have two. Tanner Matthews, who played some last year in that role, and then Marcel Gleaton, who was a guy we moved to defense, who we've recently moved back. So he's with us now, and he looks really, really good. He's about 225 pounds of pure muscle almost. So those will be the two guys to do that, which at the same time, we're going to ask Michael Cooper to do that as well. He's 223 pounds the other day. So he's going to have to do that stuff for us too.
What excites you the most about this wide receiver unit so far this year?
Yeah, I'll tell you what excites me the most is these guys work as hard as any group I've had. I've been super impressed the first 5-6 days at camp, however many days we've had, of how hard these guys work. We're actually having to pull them back where coach is getting on me. Hey, their numbers are too high on their GPSs. And that's what you love. It's easy to pull a guy back. It's hard to get a guy going. And these guys are working their butt off. So really, really excited about that.
And this week, first week of practice, just how's the energy been from the players so far?
Good. The guys are happy to be playing football. I can tell you the coaches are happy to be out there coaching. So the energy's been great. We've had some hot days. I think our practices are short, which helps as well. So really short, really crisp practices. But the guys are just excited to play football.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
John Sadak.
Hey, Coach, thanks for taking the time. We hear your name weekly in our meetings as it relates to kickoff and special teams quite a bit, and the energy that you bring there and the nuanced detail that is able to make impacts in games. With conditions as they are, how has that altered special teams prep, and are there any names of guys that we could see added to or changed around a little bit in that world?
Yeah, so that's a great question, and there's a lot of unknowns, uncertainty, and things we're doing in practice right now. It's been difficult to do drills where you got to keep your social distance and protect the players from themselves. So we're still learning a little bit. The thing I do like, you can coach a lot more detail when there's not a lot of bodies around. So some of the drills we do, you can really see if guys understand. Sometimes when they're running into other bodies, you just find a guy that's super physical, and you may miss a guy that has great technique. Well, right now, you're finding some guys with technique. Now, they got to go hit people and tackle. So that'll be the scary part when we go play and we run down that first kickoff.
As a coach, as an individual coach, and probably as a staff, given these unusual circumstances, is everyone taking copious notes on how you're going about doing some of this stuff? Because no one wants to think about the fact that, heck, there's a chance if you don't have a vaccine for another 18 months or so, you may be coaching like this for a while.
Yeah, this is there's some different times. I love what we're doing, though. We're protecting the guys because ultimately we want to keep our players safe. And I think as coaches, we're learning a lot. You're finding different ways to do drills. A lot of the same drills you've done in the past. Well, hey, we got to do it this way. Does that work? And I think we're finding out a lot of the drills do work. So it's been really, really good. And some stuff will stick and some stuff we'll be able to use moving forward.